Peace and blessings, family. Welcome. We're back again for another great conversation. How y'all doing today?
Doing great. Been working hard.
I hear that. It's
Yes.
always good to see you, Yay. Always good to see you, Ifa Motokwe. And Sister
Yes.
Ia Colette will be joining us shortly. How is it where you all are? I know you're in Phoenix, you're in Cali, I'm in Louisiana to Saturday. What's the temperature like where you all are? Checking temperatures right now.
It's 11 o'clock and it's 110.
Woo,
Oh yeah, I forgot about Phoenix. It's
and
about
man.
to
I
get
just left
ignorant today.
and I just left the ranch with we had to get a goat and a ram this morning. So like the flies, I'm still checking my head to see if there's anything left up here, you know.
Oh
And the heat, I was looking for some water like big time, you know. When
yeah,
it gets like this is the kind of heat you want to go immerse yourself in some water.
yeah,
That's
Mm,
it, because it's
yeah.
dry heat.
Mm-hmm. It's the desert for real.
No,
for
it's
real,
real
for
desert.
real.
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
no joke.
Yeah, I'll be
In
waiting for
Phoenix.
some Miami weather, with some moisture in
Oh
the
yeah,
heat.
that's
Oh.
right. Give your skin and hair a break, huh?
Okay, I'm telling you, some moisture, a little
Yes.
precipitation in the world.
Mm-hmm. It's about. I went outside this morning. I guess it's about 80 degrees out here already, so it's gonna be probably around 90 something today. But
Oh, that's so
Wow.
nice.
Well,
he's like, that's nice weather.
dang. So down here in Louisiana, so yesterday I haven't been outside. It's like that sticky, you know how that goes. But it'll be nice and
Precipitation.
sunny, and then the
Hmm.
clouds are rolling because I guess this is hurricane season.
Oh,
Hmm.
it is.
So yeah, so the
Okay.
sky get real dark, then it'll rain, and then the
Okay.
sun will come out like it's nothing.
Yeah.
So
I love
but I'm enjoying myself.
that southern summer rain. It just does
Oh,
something to me. I don't
It
know. I
has a
love it.
nice smell to it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really do love it. I have to be honest. I wrote a poem about it and everything. I love
yeah.
it.
Yeah, because
Wow.
some of my people are down in Louisiana, and Louisiana, Mississippi, and Georgia, but like I miss Louisiana. Like their weather is kind of special.
Yeah. It is
Yeah,
special.
it's.
It's a special
Hmm.
place.
Hmm.
Hmm. I
So,
love Louisiana.
but my question for you all, when you think about the weather, do
Hmm.
any particular deity or Orisha come to mind when you see certain weathers?
Well, of course, when it's nice and rainy, the Shango.
Hmm.
Always my daddy always comes to my mind, and then when the winds kick up, here come my mommy. Oh yeah,
Right.
but also I love that part. But then down here in the heat, surprisingly, um, because it's the desert, but people forget that the desert was once a part of the ocean. So
Mm,
there's that
Oh.
whole side of it. And so that ocean side comes in, and you can still feel the remnants of that. Okay. It's
Okay.
the painted desert. You have a lot of beautiful colors. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can only get with sand and like when you're going up towards Sedona, You got that beautiful red rock, and
Yeah.
greenery and everything. It's like on. But the weather, when it comes to the winds and the rain and stuff like that, yes, I'm looking for some rain.
Yeah.
I would love if somebody would pray me some rain today. you
It does
know,
every once in a while rain in the summer out there, huh?
yeah, it does. It does. And then that's when we also have a lot of flash floods. And so, yes, that's when I do know about a locum for real, for real.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the fierceness of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that it's always unexpected.
Yeah.
It's not something that you can, you look at it and you see the lightning across the sky, and next thing you know, you're riding down the road, and then you got to put your foot on the gas because the river is coming up behind you. You know,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
but it's nothing like it. I mean, it's an adventure. To be
Yeah.
honest, it is an adventure.
It is an adventure. It almost feels like, I don't know what about you, yeah, but when I was in Arizona, I felt like almost like you're not really supposed to be living out here.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
why
you're
would
not
they choose to
supposed
build
to.
houses out here? Because it feels like the land just doesn't want you to do that.
Wow. Wow. So with the weather patterns today, is this normal? Is there something abnormal about it that y'all feel right now? When you think about where we are with just the weather by itself.
Yeah. Things are coming in a little early. Okay. For May down here, you don't get super triple digits until you get well into June, July. You're
Mm-hmm.
gonna range like, 85, 90, but 95 at that, but you're not going to get into the triple digits. It started coming in early, and it felt it didn't feel right. Yeah. And I hadn't seen it like that before either, this time of the year. So yeah, there's a little abnormality to that.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's just definitely shifting. I was talking to one of my god sisters who lives outside of Chicago, and she was saying the weather is just very different
Mm-hmm.
from what she's used
Hmm.
to. Like, it's almost like Bay Area weather. It's moderate. It's so moderate. Like,
Yeah.
the Bay Area hardly has seasons, hardly, because
Mm.
everything is generally the same year round.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
they
that's
have.
not, for me coming from Chicago. I was born and raised in Chicago. So, you had four seasons.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, and things there, the weather there has been kind of my children, two of my children are still there, and I have a few nieces and nephews that are still there, and they're pretty much saying the weather is kind of like, you know, kind of cool, but not cool.
Yeah.
Um, it's interesting on the weather because this is about the time when you start having the different festivals coming out
Mm-hmm.
Right.
too. Okay, Chicago's a food city,
Right.
Yeah.
so yeah,
Get ready
you
for the
getting ready to
taste.
taste, yes.
Right on.
you know, I love the taste. Get ready, have all different kinds of different foods and stuff. But the weather, interestingly, has been, kind of moderate.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. The weather is seeming that, and it have you all noticed if it's taken on the attitude of the times? It's almost like there's a sense of that shifting of times that we're going through. That the weather's
Mm-hmm.
kind of patterning itself after that.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's yeah, because that's what
Yeah.
I'm feeling. It's like something in the air that just don't feel right.
Yeah. A lot of volatility. It just.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
feels weird. Like it's unpredictable. The other part is you don't know what's gonna happen where, because so
True.
many things are happening that are kind of out of character for the area.
mm-hmm.
It's hard to determine.
So one of the big things I was thinking about was in this month of June in particular, because we're still in the month of June, seeing all of these lynchings happen, like
Hmm.
physical lynchings, like, not political lynchings, but physical lynchings, like, strange fruit, if you will, hanging from
Mm-hmm.
American trees. And what is that, what in the spiritual sense, what is all of that about? And then we know that we're dealing with, we know about that in history. And when we talk about lynchings, we talk about stuff that happened in, 1800s, 1900s, 1962. But to have something happen in 2020 and to see so many, Roseville, California, Palmdale, California, is another place in California, New York, like this is not Mississippi or Louisiana or the deep South, South Carolina, or something like that. We're talking about most of our ancestors, left the deep South, went to down north and down west, and now
Up
you see
north.
that same kind of pattern. What is this about? Is particularly in spirit and also in the spirit world. What
Well,
what what do you
think,
think some of this is about?
if you think about it, if we look at our the historical trail, okay, we would leave in the South, but many people moved west from the South,
Mm-hmm.
due west, and that's how you had Africans born in America that founded places like Los Angeles. So you had that trail of people that went back and forth. Now, to me, it's more of an idea of uh, to demoralize a people, to take them, to kill that way. So, because usually a gun is something that's going to be quick or
Mm-hmm.
quicker. But when someone takes the time to kill you by lynching you or torturing you and lynching you, it has a emotional and spiritual impact on a people in whole, because that's the things that were done to us in those times past.
Mm.
Okay, that was done to those people they thought were uppity. They use those terms for us,
Yeah.
those who stood up. And so lynching was a way to demoralize you, and not just one individual, one family, but a whole people, because it's the kind of thing that makes you stop, to pause, to
Hmm.
feel, to hurt. Okay.
Hmm.
And I think that that's is designed to do that. Okay.
Mm.
um and why it's happening in those particular areas, it could very well be um because on one hand, I look at and I'll pause to think, we all have destinies from a spiritual perspective, and according to my tradition, yeah,
Mm.
our tradition, we all have destinies, and we choose how we're going to come into this world. And there's also a choice on how we live in this world, whether we recognize or memorize or have it in our memory. Um, those that are being lynched have made that spiritual contract that that might be the way that they lead this way.
Hmm.
And will they have an impact? They're certainly going to have an impact on the people. No, in the same context that you had with George calling his mother's name,
Mm.
as he died. Okay, that hit every mother, irregardless to ethnicity. For a lot of mothers, it hit in the gut when a man or anyone is calling for their mother. Yeah. So we have all these different impacting things that are happening to us on such a deep level. And lynching is one that really, for me, when I see it, and my memory goes back to the 1950s, because I grew up as a child in the 1950s, little child, but like still a child. So, those things, uh, I remember, I remember Emmett Till's body going down South Park in an open casket. Okay. Those are things that still I feel, you know. Um, so we have to look at spiritually, what does that mean for us? It means that you're either going to do something about it and react, or you're not. And I'm thinking that a lot of people want to do something because you're seeing more and more people
Mm-hmm.
standing up, more and more
Mhm.
people saying enough is enough, more and more people saying, you know what, we can't do this.
Right.
Okay. But you also have an influx of more and more people that say, well, we gonna keep you in the same space.
Yep.
Okay. So it really depends upon what are we going to do. Okay. I don't know about the mother folks. All I know about is what I'm going to do. Yeah.
Right on. What about you, Ifa Modukwe?
Um, I I consider the death of George Floyd a public lynching, and the reason why, especially, I say that is because I tried to kneel down for 8 minutes, and it was very difficult. It was very difficult for me to kneel down for 8 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I might be
Yeah.
telling too much about myself being out of shape, but that was a grown man. Like,
Right on.
that's not an easy thing to do on your body. So for you to exert that type of effort in your own body to harm another person, to kill, then that's personal.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it was recorded and that everyone was exposed to it makes makes it a public lynching. So that's what really got the ball rolling. And there's two things that, like, the way I look at it is there are people looking at that saying they relate to George Floyd and the other people who have been killed since his death. And then there are people who are more relating to the officer, in that they have that kind of bloodlust that makes them want to lynch other black people. So those people were energized and activated by that in a different direction than we were energized and activated by it. Do you know what I mean? We were
Mm-hmm.
energized and
Mhm.
activated to protest and begin to gather and maybe strategize about changes that needed to happen on our behalf. And those people are activated to keep the ball
Mm-hmm.
rolling. Like, we're putting our bluff in on black people by, again, the same tactics that used after emancipation, during Jim Crow and Reconstruction. All
Mm-hmm.
those are the
Right.
same tactics. Like, we're gonna put our bluff in on you so you stay on your square. And I think the thing that, if we look at the story of the police, it's the best story of the lynchings and the public killing of black people in this country, because you know it, it's the slave police, the patty rollers, and then in the
Mm-hmm.
South. Then we move north to escape that. Meanwhile, while we're making the Great Migration, the northern states are preparing for us to come by creating the police.
Mm-hmm.
Then and then as black people begin to get more civil rights, the police morph into, now we not just looking at black people, we looking at poor people.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all stay over here. And if you get out of pocket, then we're right there to make you go right back to. That's why when you're in a neighborhood where there's predominantly white people, and you're black walking around that neighborhood or driving through that neighborhood, they pull you over because that's their way of saying doing what they were designed to do, which is you're not supposed to
That's
be over
they
here.
need. Mhm.
What you doing over here? And you could say all the I own a house over here. I'm jogging in my neighborhood if you want to. They really don't care about that because they're designed to intimidate people who are felt not to be in those areas and keep them back in the areas where they feel like we belong. That's what the police is designed to do. So, they can't divorce themselves from their
Mhm.
origin. Just like we can't divorce ourselves from our origin. We were
Right
not
on.
created to
Mhm.
be enslaved. We were not created to be oppressed. No matter what we do, we can't run from that. So enough stuff, like I always say, God will do will help me to whatever I need to bring me back to my destiny. Here you go. If this is what you need to motivate you to get back on your square, then you know what I
Then we're
mean.
gonna do that.
Yeah, that's what's gonna happen. So if it's that I don't need to not have money, whatever's gonna get my attention, that's
Mhm.
what's gonna occur to get me back to doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And so I look at that from a spiritual standpoint, and as long as we're trying to reform something instead of abolish it,
Mhm.
then we're going to continue to have these problems because it's the way that we're
Mhm.
looking at it that's the problem. And that we don't feel like we have the capacity to create something new that works.
Mm.
So it's always our perception of ourselves that is
Mhm.
being tested. Do you know what I mean? It's not our relationship to racism, our relationship to white supremacist delusion, our relationship to lynchings that occur are always a, a refining of our perception of ourselves. Because yes, we're in a fight, and I pity at full power African people. You don't want it with us. It's just that simple. Now we be trying to be nice. We've been trying to be nice, but y'all really don't want it with us. But
They
it's
don't want
something
none of
in us
that.
that has to wake up in order
Mhm.
for us to continue to move forward. And this is a big part of it. We have accepted and normalized a lot of foolishness. We just like, oh, that's just how white people do. Everybody got a friend growing up. I don't know if you still have this friend, but I know at some point in your life, everyone has a friend who's a weirdo. Like they do weird shit. They lie. They just be doing just randomly stuff that you like, why? And then, but you love the person. So you like, after a while, everybody's like, oh, that's just so and so. Oh, that's just so and so. When I recognized
Mhm.
who that person was in my life, I got rid of them because I said to myself, now come on, really.
Mhm.
If a person is showing you what their character
Oh,
is,
believe it.
you got to believe it.
Yep.
Stop pretending that, and just don't indulge it anymore. So
And start
when the
walking
time
across
comes
the
that
street.
black people are willing and ready to stand up and be in alignment with who they were created to be, they'll no longer indulge the foolishness of racism because that's what it
Well,
is. When we get
understanding who
enough,
first you are.
yeah, we're gonna stop it, and it's starting to smell like we're getting enough.
You know,
That's what's starting to smell
we
like.
are, we
Yeah.
are, but I think it's also going psychologically in some other areas with people too, in
Mm-hmm.
terms of depression.
Yes.
Okay, it does send you into a vast depression, especially if you have no sense of history, true
Yes.
history.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because if you don't know where you came from and who you all are, then
Yeah.
you're going to
Where
have
you
a
going?
problem reconciling this because, oh my God, you thought you were different.
Yeah.
You thought we were
Yep.
above this, but we ain't
Mm-hmm.
above this. This has been going on and continue to going on, and will continue to go on because we are still in that place of I want to be accepted. The day you not
Yep.
wanting to be accepted, okay, and to the day that you
Yeah.
say the hell with that noise, I don't care,
Mm-hmm.
okay, because one child, one person is too much. Too
Yes.
much.
Ashe. Ashe.
Whether it's 2020 or not, it is too
It's too
much.
much. Yeah.
And we're not, we're in this space where we have to look at our own individual selves and say, when have I had enough? Because, say, I'm sorry, I don't care if the child is in my religion. I don't care if if they're not.
That's real.
Okay. At the end of the day, it's my child. See,
Right.
because it could be my son, my daughter, my grandchild. Okay. And so whoever that is on the ground with somebody's foot on their neck or their knee on their neck, that's my child. And until
Yes.
we get to that place where we feel that and and have to throw off the bounds of depression about it,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Get over ourselves. That's
Yeah.
literally how I feel about it. Get
Yeah.
over yourself.
Yeah.
This is real. Okay.
Yeah.
See, I know what it's like to walk in what they call the wrong neighborhood. Because as a kid, we couldn't cross over 43rd and Halsted, or you get your ass whooped by them humpies, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's how we were raised. We could not go on certain sides of town. I understood what it looked like when my grandmother said, we're not going to go over here today and go to Woolworths. Okay. Because we couldn't always go into Woolworths and sit at the counter with everybody else. So by me seeing that and experiencing that, as a child and growing up with these other horrific things, I'm at this place where at the end of the day it's like, I know how to differentiate. I know who's friend, who ain't friend, who's your foe, what type of day it is. But at the end of the day, if you got your foot, your knee, put your hands on, say something out the way, Karen, or anything about one of my kids, then we got a problem.
Yep.
And so that's all, you have to be able to encompass the all
Yep.
and recognize that it is you. It is
Yeah.
personal. And
It's
I
very
think that we're
personal.
also,
Yeah.
it's real personal.
Yeah.
I think there's an ancestral push behind this energy.
Ashe.
Mhm.
Okay. I don't think my ancestors are happy about this at all.
No.
Okay. Because they wouldn't be agitating me. What you going to do? How you
Right.
going to do? What you going having dreams and stuff. My
Woo.
dreams are being disturbed. So they're saying, on a spiritual level, get your butt up.
Yeah.
What are you going to say about this? You know, you can't, don't push a button on Elay Facebook. Get your butt
Mm-hmm.
up and do something. And that's why do we empower our deities for us to be in alignment with them if we're not going to pay attention to what they say?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think that, and we've talked about, the metaphysical side, the weather patterns. There's something that's
Mhm.
pushing that energy. Okay. The attitudes of dreams. There's something pushing this energy. So we
Yeah.
have to pay attention to that. And I think that's because depression ain't going to get it. Do nothingness is not going to get it. Sitting
Mm-mm.
down and being complacent is not going to get it
Nope.
because I don't want that phone call. Okay. I don't want that phone call because see that's what I'm saying. No mother once that phone call from a George, concerning her George Floyd.
Right.
Okay, nobody.
Yeah.
And that's where we have to be cognizant of, then what are we going to do?
What are we gonna do? Yeah.
Okay. And with the Erisha community, see, a lot of people forget that even Black Lives Matter started in E5. Okay. Yeah, they forgot. I think they forgot because their leadership
Uh huh.
was initiated to E5.
I did not know that.
Okay. Yeah, Patrice. Yeah, Ianifa.
I say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you have to think about that part, too. When you have our, people are they're making a decision if they're going to, from a spiritual place, from a theological place. Am I
Mhm.
going to take this energy that I've been in a line with and I'm going to put it into activism for my people?
Uh huh.
Am I going to put it into political agendas? Am I going to put it into other helpful areas, social work, psychology, medicine, teaching? What am I going to put that energy into to help me? Because that's what that alignment does. It helps you to move
Yeah.
forward in the areas of work that will help you.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can utilize that energy too. You know, Believe me, my Ogun is doing work as we speak. Or, we have to think about what energy is going to help us with that is too. You
Right
know,
Yeah.
on. So is it possible, because we started off talking about the lynchings, and I'm always the person who kind of throws us in there. Is it possible though to talk about not just the battle with white folks, but the battle that black folks do with each other? Because somehow we give each other a pass all the time. We start talking about white folks, we get excited, we get in almost into like a,
animated.
yeah. But when you talk about what we do to each other, like the violence is happening, because at the same time that those lynchings are happening, black kids
Yes.
are blowing each
Mm-hmm.
other away on the street. Black
Yes.
girls and women are
Already
not
on.
safe in their communities.
No.
Is there any, and we're also fighting each other between black men and black women, because even with Black Lives Matter, I seen so many posts about how those women, since you mentioned it, really hate black men and their language and their work, which I didn't know nothing about that, because I'm one of those people. Sometimes I just kind of, when things are like talkative, I kind of skip over that a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
if it ain't too ridiculous, because I just don't have time for that. But when it starts
Mhm.
to manifest itself in a physical form, then I
Yeah.
feel like I have to say something, because it's kind of like, some people I'm not giving no energy to, but there's some people's like, no, we probably need to talk about this.
Yeah,
So,
because a lot of times, if it is the situation where we're not talking about it, it's almost like we don't want our dirty laundry to hit the street. But
Yeah.
our
hmm,
dirty laundry is up on the line. We didn't clean them properly. Okay, so you
true.
know, again, we have to look at what that looks like in our
Yeah.
community and what does it do in terms of uh, how we act in our community as well. Um, One is just the idea of when I used to hear people say, "Well, I don't want to go over there and shop over here with the black folks over here because they don't know how to take care of their stuff right." Well, how you know if you don't go over there? You
Right
got a
on.
Right.
mental block about buying black? You know, do you have a mental block about your stuff? You
Right
know,
on.
so we have to think about how that impacts us. You know,
Yeah.
if I feel, yeah, I'm pissed off at my exes, okay, and so forth and so on, and but like I have a son. Why am I gonna be mad about a black man? Okay. I have a son, I have grandson, I have great grandsons, So, but I get upset when it comes to the fact that I gotta worry about how I'm gonna walk the streets
Right.
because, you know, So what are we going to do about that? Okay. You
Good
can't, we have to
afternoon.
look at how to do that.
Hey, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Hey.
Hey, yeah, yeah.
Hey,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
okay.
No,
But
I just
anyway,
wanted.
Well, we have to
mm,
learn we have to relearn who we are and how we are going to interact with each other.
Yeah.
Um, and I haven't been here for most of the dialogue,
It's all
but
right.
from what you're saying, that's what it sounds like to me. Um, we have interacted with each other according to the trauma that we carry as a people. And we have to relieve ourselves of that trauma. We have to
mm,
look at it, we have to own it, we have to speak it, and then we
mhm,
have to do something about it within ourselves, each of us. Not, I'm not even talking about a group. I'm talking about everybody has to look at their own shit. And
Mm.
then we have to come up with how we're going to interact with one another. Because right
mhm,
now, we're not only being killed, we're killing each other.
Yeah.
Even if it's not taking a gun or a knife to each other, we're killing each other with our words. We're killing each other with our thoughts. We're killing each other with not buying from each other, not trusting each other, not realizing that we all come from that same one seed. We all have the same mother and the same father. And when I say we, I'm going to be very clear about this. I'm talking about my people, my own
Mm-hmm.
people. So
mhm,
we have to come up with ways of working with each other that are trustworthy, truthful,
mhm.
and transparent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now my system will probably go down again.
Oh.
That's all right.
No. You know,
You know,
before the fight broke out, we were we were talking about that's how I feel. I feel like we was in the room talking. You know how you be in your front room talking, a bunch of y'all in the front room talking, and then outside the fight broke out, and so everybody go outside,
Right.
and then you try to come back and remember what you was talking about.
talk
Yeah,
about.
yes, yes.
But before the fight broke out, we had been having some conversations about African spirituality as a way of us, what LaDonna said, we have to reclaim our minds, as us um reclaiming our minds, or reclaiming ourselves, reclaiming our identity, so that we did not know ourselves just in relation to whiteness, right? That's
Right.
the problem,
Yes.
is that when we begin to define ourselves in relation to whiteness, because that's how everything is defined in this country,
Yeah.
and largely around the world, how things are
Mhm.
defined. It's
Hmm.
not just that part of it is not just a us problem, but if we solve it for
It's global.
ourselves, it will be solved for people in the diaspora as well. So, I mean, that's even a problem in parts of Africa. Like that now, because of colonization and slavery, we define ourselves in relation to whiteness. And so it's easy for us to aggress one another, because when you find that the person you're talking to is insignificant based on their proximity to whiteness, then you don't feel
Mhm.
like you need to respect them. And
Mm.
that has been something we've been doing largely without being conscious of doing it.
Yes.
And the reason
Yeah.
why African spirituality, one of the reasons why African spirituality is so powerful in the fight against that, is because the images are our images. And also everything that you seek to understand, undo, and fix points back to what you get to do about it.
Mm-hmm.
So then there's a sense of responsibility that's reinstilled. It's no longer God or the devil made me do it. It's now you, this is something that you got to deal with. Now, it could have been something in your
Mm-hmm.
bloodline, could have been something in your that you did without thinking, could have been you breaking a taboo, could have been a lot of things, but it
Mm-hmm.
all the power is then and responsibility is then placed back in your person.
Your person in
So
your
then
hand.
you get to deal with it. And that going through that cycle of solving problems like that repeatedly is empowering.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you a
Mm-hmm.
different place in the world, right? When we say, okay, so your mother teaches you how to be, and but your father teaches you who you are. In other words, your mother is the keeper of your interior landscape and your character largely, but your father is the energy that places you in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It tells your father's the way your father raises you is to point to you who you are in relation to the world around you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm just saying from a traditional standpoint, that's the role of your parenting, right? So when you look at your parent or rishas, when you look at um, the deities that have been given the feminine aspect and given the masculine aspect, then you start to understand how to approach some of these things, right? uh, from a personal level, like how do I play into this, like, and so and also your upbringing, you know what I mean, it does play a part. Some people got that physically from their actual birth parents, and some people had to get it more from spiritual parents,
Right.
for either actual godparents or from divine entities. Like
Right.
they got, that's how they figured
Mm-hmm.
out who in the hell they are. But that is who you are. You're you are a combination of yourself and where you are in the world. Now, when we let white people tell us, father us, basically, you know what I'm saying? And when we let white
Mm-hmm.
people father us, and then we get into this Handmaid's Tale thing, where every time we look at each other, we like under his eye, under his eye, because we are.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
We're under
Yes.
white male gaze, as white men being the standard for what is good, what is holy, what is everything. This is the beef with white Jesus. You understand what I'm saying? Like, what is good, what is holy, what is the top of the line, Carlos Rossi fine wine. No, let me shut up. That is I'm sorry, I digress. I have to do that so
Yeah.
that I don't start crying. Um that is the standard, and then everything is down from there, right? I'm also using
Yes.
some of the genius of Sonia Renee Taylor. Let me give her credit for where credit is due. She's an awesome sister and she teaches in a wonderful way. But yeah, so our proximity to whiteness, when we begin to take away that whole structure within ourselves, then we can take away the physical structure. We have to eliminate the reason why Black women have been considered at the bottom of the ladder. You know what I mean? There was a long time we were talking about triple oppression and all these things that would have Black women way in at the bottom of the game. But we, in a lot of ways, have stepped our game up. And
Yeah.
so, so when a Black man looks at, because a black, if we go through the whiteness ladder, a Black man is still higher up on that ladder because he's a man. So if you're looking down on someone, it's very easy to consider their life not important. It
Mm.
takes unlearning and a retraining in order for that to happen. If that's who you've been your whole life and you was raised by people who was like that, who have been infected with that witchcraft, and that's where they are, then that's
Mm-hmm.
where you're going to be. And that is, and this is also running concurrently with destiny, right? What you came here to do, who you came here to be, the context that you were born into, all those different things play, and it's all just a big. And if we look at it holistically, then we see that the answer lies in each individual person being able to say, no, that doesn't apply to me. You know what
Okay,
I mean?
so what you're saying, I just want to make sure I'm getting, because it's good, it's juicy, it's like a great big, and I know people don't eat meat no more, but it's a
I do.
great big fat, yeah, me too. It's a big juicy tenderloin steak. Anyway, now see, now I don't forgot what I was going to say. No. So what you're saying is that, oh, this is interesting. I just love when we're together. We have to kill the racism, the thought, the insidiousness of racism within ourselves. The racism that white people have, the white supremacy, the white fragility, all of that, that's not our concern.
No.
Our concern is fixing the how we have taken hold of what they have told us we are or not, or we are not. And we have to rid ourselves of that. And once we can pull that from underneath our feet, from out of our heads, out of our hearts, out of our very being, then it will not exist anymore, because we will not accept it as a construct.
Exactly.
It may exist.
We will have eliminated. We will have eliminated the idea of it, right? Because ideas coagulate energy around them.
Yes.
That energy moves and begins to manifest things in the world, right? It's like a womb. And so I'm sure that if we were to do an investigation by divination, we'd find that it has an Odu.
Of course it does.
It got an Odu signature, right?
Right.
It has an Odu signature. So it's like a womb. And then it gets energy, collects, Ashe, collects around it. It starts to move. And then it pushes from the wave into the particle. And it becomes manifest in the world, right? So the way that, this is the reason I feel like Ifa is saying it has to happen through the women. Because we are the wombs, right? So when something is a non-entity within us, then it doesn't have a place to ground. It doesn't have a place to take root in the world, right?
It can't incubate.
No, it has no birthplace. So if you don't have a birthplace, you are then not a national of that thing, right? So let's say the ocean swallowed up Africa, like the ocean swallowed up Atlantis and all these other civilizations that we've been talking about, right? So when the ocean swallows up your birthplace, after a certain amount of time, you begin to identify with another location, right? So I'm not saying that it was our idea, but it has to have some root in us in order to continue to grow in our experience.
Yes.
This is just a metaphysical standpoint. Like I'm just saying that this is what I see. That it has to have some root in us. And the root, we don't want to talk about the root. So the root in us is being displayed as all these Black women dying at the hands of Black men and other things of that nature. We have to have those conversations.
Right.
Yes.
We have to root that out of ourselves and out of our communities, or we will continue to suffer at the hands of other people in the same framework. This exists in the same framework. It is about our proximity to a standard, that standard being white men. And so anything below that just starts to go down in value.
Mm-hmm.
And we find ourselves at the bottom of that ladder being the actual antithesis of white men.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Do you
yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean? We're
yeah,
not white.
Wait a
We're
minute
black,
now.
yeah.
which is the antithesis of white. We're women. That's the antithesis of men.
Antithesis
We're
of
the
men.
actual opposite of that thing. So we find ourselves at the bottom of that ladder when under this gaze, right? And so if we eradicate that completely, and we should be the ones saying no, nothing less. Nope, nothing
Exactly,
less. Nope.
exactly.
Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm.
You want a police reform? Nope. Mm-mm. Abolish it. Nothing less.
Yeah.
We have to begin to have those standards. And what you want, and I'm gonna tell you how you know if you've been compromising, because I had to give myself this test. In your personal relationships, you know what you want,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I don't think that most women are unreasonable. Because if you've ever raised children or you've been a part of raising children, then you understand human nature enough to know which things are you can compromise and which things you should not.
Mm-hmm.
And so on the things that you should not be compromising, if you're saying okay to something that makes your stomach hurt, you got some work to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Then
Right.
you gotta ride with no nothing less. And I'm telling you, like, what came back to me was how Maya Angelou has a zero tolerance policy in her house. Had a zero tolerance policy in her house, right?
Mm-hmm. You brought out
So if
too.
you get off the rails in any kind of way, you gotta
Mm-hmm.
go. She will get you up from her dinner table and walk you kindly to the door and give you your jacket and send you on your way. And a lot of
Not even
people
call a
have
cab.
testified, yeah, to seeing her actually do that. Somebody make an
Mm-hmm.
off-color joke, and everybody start looking around because they know she's coming for them. And she says,
Right.
"Excuse me, can I talk to you in the other room?" And she already got your jacket in your purse. And okay, goodbye. You gotta go.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have to live like that according to our values.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. You know what you've done here? You've gone straight to universal law, because in universal law, Hermetic law, cosmic law, whatever name you want to give to it, the first law is mentalism. So it is a matter of us as Black women retooling ourselves mentally, changing how we see ourselves in this world, that is going to catapult us to where we need to be. The children and the men, our children and our men, will come along, but it's the work that we as the women have to do, because we birth the nation. As the women go, so goes the nation. And the nation ain't going very well.
And it's our the power of our divine selves, because we're washing off witchcraft, basically, is what we're doing.
Woo,
We're
yes.
washing off witchcraft. So we have to approach it in the same way that you do when you wash off witchcraft. You clean yourself, you fortify yourself, and then you protect yourself. And we've got to approach it like that. There's no other way to do it.
Right
Mhm.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Woo!
Absolutely.
yeah.
All
Now,
right, y'all.
here we go.
We got 5 minutes to go.
Here we go.
Zero tolerance, huh?
That is
Yeah. Ain't that
zero.
cold blooded? But look, here's the beauty of
It's
it.
not cold blooded. It's not cold blooded. It is. You know,
Yeah.
because we have. If I agree wholeheartedly, but as far as I'm concerned, zero tolerance has to be the call of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Stop
say.
taking the bullshit.
I say.
Okay. It really just boils down to that.
Mm-hmm.
I if you disrespect or say something that's disrespectful, no matter
Mm-hmm.
what, it sticks on your walls.
Yeah,
That
it
energy
does.
No.
sticks and it
Yeah.
goes other places. I
Yeah.
internalizes. If I'm
Mm-hmm.
in my childbearing years, I'm putting that energy back into something that's going to come back into the world. My manifestation of a seed that was given to men
Mm-hmm.
to protect.
Yes.
Yeah. I
So
say.
Yes.
how am I going to face myself? So we do have to undo a lot of things that we have been conditioned to believe about ourselves
Yeah.
and stop giving that playback stuff room to grow in us and find a seat.
Mm-hmm.
You have to see this stuff and you have to do it on your feet moving. You have
Yeah.
to see it,
Yeah.
eradicate it, see what it is while
Yeah.
you moving. Okay,
Yeah.
because this is all while you're moving and get
Yes.
rid of it. And sometimes we used to say, and where I come from, put that crap in the garbage can at the North Pole and let it float
Yes.
in the hard cold and do your job.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right on.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's we have to get back to that. What is your
Yeah.
job?
Yeah.
As a woman, we are at the I think it was Joseph Campbell, just bring another white man up in here, but
Right.
he is, science has said that women man came at the 11th hour of womanhood.
Oh.
We were the ones first.
Yeah.
Then came man.
Man.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a level that's not being one better than the other. It's just simply saying that if you came out the door, you have a little bit more of an opportunity
I say.
to do the job right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And our first job is to get our own head straight and
Yes.
to understand who you are as a divine being. You
Yes.
have to know who you are as a divine being and what you are, what your worth is. It's
Yep.
everything.
Yep.
Okay.
It's everything.
I am the daughter of Odu. I
Mm-hmm.
am the daughter of Olodumare.
Mm,
I
I say.
am the daughter of Arumila.
I say.
Okay. So you cannot tell me at any given time what I ain't. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I will not apologize because I'm telling you the truth. If
I
you don't
say.
like truth, then don't come over here visit.
Right on.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Because I understand my
Right.
Angelo.
Right.
Here's the dough. Here's your
Yeah.
hat. Here's your purse. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Because you are messing with my spiritual delight. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I can't have that energy in my space.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
we have, and this is my space. This is
Yeah.
my
Yes.
divinity is right
Yeah.
here, my
It's
ori.
right there.
So I
Yeah.
can't have that messing with my ori.
Uh-huh.
So we have to do things in a different way and
Yes.
change how we are thinking. And because those children are in our womb space for
Yeah.
9 months,
Yep.
okay, they're being
Mhm.
incubated. We
Mm-hmm.
talk to them.
Yep.
They know us better than we know ourselves.
Yep.
Okay, because they've lived with us kicking and breathing and doing all kind of stuff for 9 months before they come out. So our
Yep.
responsibility is to make sure that that divine space and development is on the right path, and it can't
Mm-hmm.
be if mine ain't.
Right.
That's what that Obey Laura is about
Mm.
when it comes for us. That's what we're talking about. If we are the responsibility for joy and pain,
Gotcha.
okay? Let me not be happy and I can show you how you gonna feel later. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And that's being real. Okay. So we have to look at, where's my head at?
Yeah.
Am I looking at my spiritual development so that my children can see theirs? Am
Yeah.
I looking at not being, seeing
Mhm.
disrespected? My children see me saying, okay, mister. When somebody is disrespecting me, they're going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. We have to think about our positioning and stop the idea that we don't have no power.
Yep.
We have power.
Mm-hmm. And
It's
read
time
and,
to
and
use
read.
it.
Look, I would advise people to read the Willie Lynch letter and search within themselves
Mm-hmm.
for evidence of all those all that witchcraft that's in that letter. Search within
Absolutely.
yourself for prejudice against for
Your
ageism,
own.
for colorism,
Mhm.
for all these for you
Mhm.
hate men or whatever the case may be. Because like you said, you got to do it moving. You got to do it on your feet. It's like I didn't
Mhm.
have a mother who if you got into a fight with somebody or somebody did something to you and you didn't rise to the occasion,
Mhm.
and you come in the house and tell them so and so hit me with the whatever, and then she send you back out and say, well, no, you need to go handle that. My mother was not like that, but I see that that's the type of relationship that we need to have with our elders as women.
Yeah.
Well,
Like when you
Oh,
get chipped up,
absolutely.
look here, come here, let me put some hydrogen peroxide on your wound, and then now
Yep.
you go back
On it.
out and you fight that person,
Mhm.
because they don't get to do that to you. And I want to show
Right.
you that you have the power within you to overcome whatever comes up against you. Don't run back to me
well, I
for that.
wanted to
Because
Okay.
add.
I had
I
that
wanted
problem.
to really quick. I just wanted to add to what you said, Ifeanyi Dupe, when you said read that Willie Lynch letter. If
Yeah,
you find yourself debating it by saying it's not real, you're in the letter.
yeah, that's you right there.
Mhm.
That's you. That's you. First response. That's not even
Yeah,
real,
that's you
dude.
right
But
there.
you're in it.
Mm,
Right.
Yeah,
mm.
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah.
Although I
Uh,
can't
uh,
imagine someone saying that at this time, what looking at
Oh,
the number of black women being killed by the hands of black men, looking at,
and
I
that
mean, just the
witchcraft
way
is
that we
strong, though.
respond.
That
Mm,
witchcraft is strong.
It's
You hear
in
me?
it
Them
it
is.
is.
cells is
It is.
it's
strong,
in the
boy.
blood.
Yeah.
When you
It's.
start talking about historical trauma,
Yeah,
okay,
Mhm.
historical trauma is real.
yeah.
It's compounded every time, and it's in the blood.
Hmm.
So if you have 5 generations of people who have flight or fight responses,
Hmm.
and it's more flight than it is fight,
Hmm.
okay, that is compounded. So we're dealing with that kind of energy.
Yeah.
How do you recognize it and see it? You gotta, well, you see it, but you, again, that little big toe, you gotta put it out there, embrace it,
Gotcha.
Mhm.
accept it, and then get rid of it.
Right.
Right on.
Okay.
Okay,
I
get
know we
rid of
gotta
that mess.
go. I know we gotta go,
Okay.
but I got a question here. I'm just throwing it out for us to think about. We talk. Yeah. You talked about how we can combat some of these things spiritually. My mind is saying to me, what about all of the people who do not have Ifa and who don't want it? What
They
about
got
all?
Ori.
But yeah,
Everybody got Ori.
everybody has Ori, but well, yeah, everybody
And
has Ori,
ancestors.
Hey, so y'all
and,
still got like
and
another 15 minutes. So I'm gonna be right
oh,
here, but y'all got another 15 minutes. Go ahead.
they have
Okay.
Ori and they have the ancestors. Okay,
Yes.
that's a given.
Yeah.
But they're not. They don't have that plug-in. They're not in tune with it, and they don't see the need for it. So
Mhm.
where, how, how, how are they going to come into the knowing of who they are and their power? They don't have that plug into the Orisha. They
They
don't
don't
have
have
that
to
plug
like
into
it.
the lower or the Ori or the end. There's a whole
They
lot of
don't. They
people.
don't. They
They
don't
don't
have
have
to.
to have
Yeah.
it.
They don't
Yeah.
have to,
They
because
Okay.
Yaya said something that was very key. You
Hmm.
said, you when you act out of pocket in my presence, you are messing with my delight. Here's
Mhm.
something that the Christians can hold on to:
Okay.
Yep.
delight in the truth,
Mhm.
not in the
That's it.
witchcraft, not in the
Hmm.
Right.
comfort, not in the approval of white people, not in the approval of any people. Delight yourself
Being under light
in the truth.
in the truth.
Yep. If you take
That
root in
is
the
it.
truth, the rest of
Mhm.
it, let your
That is
ancestors
it.
do the work. They'll do the work. Trust me.
And they delight in it. Trust and
Yes.
believe there is
Yeah.
delight
Yeah.
in it. because
Mhm.
they have a job and a role too.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Mhm.
role is important on their return.
I say.
Okay. So what are they? We are making preparation for our life here. They're making preparation for their future because
Mm-hmm.
they have to come back here.
Into it. Yep.
So, so at the end of the day, I am a priest to this day
Mm-hmm.
because of my grandmother, my great grandmother, my great great grandmother.
I say.
Okay. And they were Christians.
Yes.
Okay. They were Christians, but they would stand up women
Yeah.
and they didn't tolerate no disrespect.
Yeah.
And they were truthful and honest people. So they instilled that part, okay, into me, into others that they had influence over. So we got to look at it. See, it's not
Mm-hmm.
about just being in one specific sect or another. This is
Mm-hmm.
about we're having this spiritual experience in this physical human body. Okay. This flesh will one day disappear.
Yep.
And we got to deal with that because there's another part afterwards. But in the meantime, I'm going to deal with what I got to deal with here in the now.
I say.
Okay. And my here now is cleaning up this mess, cleaning up this mess,
Yeah.
okay, and
Mm-hmm.
cleaning up any other mess.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some things I ain't paying for,
Yeah.
okay, and I ain't paying for no bull.
Exactly.
We got, I ain't
Exactly.
paying for that.
Exactly.
I have standards,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and we have to have standards. What are we doing? Because the onus is on us,
Yep. Yep.
okay, and that's what we have to look at. This is our responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Period. I'll give you case in point. My nephew, I have one nephew that sent he I'll never this morning he sent me this heart about let's pass this heart for Jesus. And I looked at my phone and I said, I know this boy didn't send me this shit. But that's okay. So I had a choice in how I was gonna deal with it.
Yeah.
Okay. It was I going to deal with it in typical yay style, or was I going to try and reach his heart? So I said,
Mm-hmm.
let me try and reach his heart. This is my blood. Okay. So I said, son, I want you to understand something, nephew. I haven't known Jesus in 40 years. So don't send me this crap no more. I am an Ifa Risha priest. I'm an
Right.
Ebony priest. I'm an egg bay priest. So excuse me. Now, when you want to find out what I do,
Right.
then we go because I will send you some information. But I'm not
Yeah.
gonna keep sending Jesus to my inbox. Okay? Don't
Right.
do that. All right.
It's real. I mean,
But I
it's
have to give it to him like that because
yeah.
it's about understanding, and then there's also about respect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Because I know that that's your religious tradition,
Right.
and I love you for it. Okay. I will respectfully decline not to talk about it in in your space, in your house, or
Right.
anything like that. My inbox is my house.
Yeah.
My page is my living room.
Mm-hmm.
Don't send me stuff that you automatically know that I'm not going to agree with. It's about
Right.
being respectful.
Right.
Okay. So it's in the same context. I embrace what you do. That's
Mm-hmm.
cool what you do. I don't say nothing on your page and I don't go to your inbox with nothing voodoo.
Right.
That's my world. Okay. That's my world. Okay. That's the world I love. Okay. But it's also about teaching people to respect you where you are.
Yes.
Okay. And you can only do that by opening your mouth and saying what you
Yes.
don't want and like.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
And
real.
being very clear. Okay. And at the end of the day, see, my thing is, even with relatives, they're going to always be my relatives. They're always going to be
Mm-hmm.
my blood.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't mad at you. That's your belief system.
Yeah.
Okay. But we have to also remember that you mad too. That truth is hitting you too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're gonna have to deal with that kind of energy as well.
Yeah.
What you gonna do? Turn the other cheek and say, hit me again?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not
So
doing
it ain't
that.
gonna roll like that. So like at the end of the day, you have to think about what are we doing here?
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing?
Yep.
So that's what I'm saying about that. Yeah. I think that we're blessed to
Mm-hmm.
be at a time where in this tradition that we can actually see
I
our power.
say. I say.
Okay. I'm loving every step of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
me too. Yeah.
I am. This is a good time to be a woman. This
It
is a
is.
good time to be black. So now you get an opportunity to like, okay,
Yeah.
let me bring you this education. Let me give
Yeah.
you these little pearls here.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
yeah,
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
going to be gems for you.
Yeah.
Okay. And we
Mm-hmm.
want that. We definitely want that.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know that at the end of it, ultimately what we want is to be able to have a better world. That's it.
Yes.
Have a better world in peace. Okay.
Yeah.
And not and that's it. But I also call upon the power of the earth. Okay. Because we built this thing here. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
That call on that.
Yeah.
We
That's
built
it. We out of
this.
time.
No, y'all still
Okay.
got some time.
Oh,
I'm
you
just, y'all can see
changed.
I'm
You changed
transforming
and
because I got to get
everything.
ready to
Huh?
go in a while.
Okay.
But when the information is good, you got to let people build,
Okay.
you know?
That's it. We need to call on this earth force. Okay.
Yes.
Because our ancestors built this.
Yeah.
Every brick,
Yep.
every piece of dirt, every
Mm-hmm.
tree that was planted,
Yep.
we built this. So if we built it, we can take it down.
Yes.
Okay. So we have to think about how to do that, how to call upon this mother called elect.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
ask her in every aspect of her,
Mm-hmm.
can you help us? Can the quicksand help us?
Hmm.
Okay. Can the sandy beaches help us?
Yeah.
Okay. We can call on that. And we have
Yes.
to learn how to call on that and
Mm-hmm.
teach our children
How
those
to?
lost
Yep.
arts of
Yep.
calling on that. And then we have a local.
I feel like that's African American religion, man. If ever there is one, for real. Because think about it, right? We
Mhm.
don't, as a group, we own less than most groups, right?
Mhm.
It's highly likely that if the fight break out again in a real way, it's gonna be some people walking around with nothing, just like there are right now. There's a lot of people walking around with nothing. So
No
what
Mm-hmm.
coffee.
you have is the ground that you stand on.
Mhm.
That's what you got. And we have to
That's
know how
it.
to activate it.
That's it.
You got to be able to come
And
up from there. And
that's it.
that's our story. Like really. Because when we
Mm-hmm.
got cut loose off the plantation, we might have had a dress or a bundle at the end of a stick or something like that, but we didn't have nothing. We got to know how to
Mm-mm.
work this earth.
Oh God, yes.
Yes.
Hmm. And that's what
Yes.
that's what the road coming up to meet you is.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
The road coming up to meet you is the spirit of the earth working on your behalf when you ain't got nothing else but the ground you stand on. How do
That's
you
it.
activate that? Yeah, we have to know that. And that's what we need to be passing down to
They
our
say
children.
ile mopel, ile mopel, ake sale mopel, ake sale mopel, ake sale mopel, a kuta e nile nimeo, a suma paragati tigi aja. Yeah, we can call on that.
I
We
say.
call on that.
I
Mother
say.
is elect, okay,
Yes.
and
Mm-hmm.
we feel her. She don't never stand still. You can feel her.
Hmm.
If
She's
you
on the move.
She
Yeah.
on the move always.
Yeah.
This
I'm
earth don't
I'm telling
stand
you,
still.
everything that we need is right here.
Right
Yep.
The
here.
intelligence that we need to operate in the moment and like you said, do it moving, it's right here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
On the
part of our
money.
spiritual heritage and we just have to begin to activate that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tap
I,
into the power.
Yes. Thank you. That was
yeah.
Wow.
awesome.
What a wonderful.
That was
Ah,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. You
Mm.
feel
Right
all them
on.
animals back there in the back. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I say.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
telling you,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's been on me today.
I say.
All
Yes,
right,
it is.
y'all.
You got it.
Well, we are
Okay.
getting ready to wrap this up. Trying to
Okay.
get the last bit of comments in here, y'all. Sorry.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, we'll be seeing y'all tomorrow.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
All
y'all for joining
right.
us,
Okay.
and we will see y'all
You're
tomorrow. Keep on
welcome.
multiplying. Your laugh cracking me up. Okay, hold on. Hold on, family. We about to get up out of here. I just love your laugh. So you be dying.